We're back here with Dwight, and we've spoken to Dwight a little bit in previous episodes. So you can go check those episodes out. And right now we're gonna get into talking about working while you're in school. Now, he came here as a permanent resident, so his situation is going to be a little bit different from yours if you're coming as an international student. However, it doesn't mean that the actual experience outside of a visa and limitations in terms of work aren't transferable. So you worked while you're in school, you worked on so residences, so student residences have like front desk requirements, people who need to work at the front desk.
So resident advisors or DONs, that's what they're called. And there's also like a resident coordinator, I guess you would call it. So that person is the person who is in charge of the resident advisors. And there's a variety of other roles. And then apart from the actual residents, there's jobs on the actual building. You can work with your professor as like a teacher's assistant. You can work in the students association. There's a variety of options. I think even if you are like president of the student association or something like that, or throw events, you probably will be paid a bit.
Like an events coordinator or events
stuff
team
like
or
that.
something.
Exactly.
So there's opportunities on campus.
Yeah, you can probably work in the cafeteria. You can work in the gym. A lot of different jobs.
A lot of different on-campus jobs.
Yes, many.
Do you find that when you work on campus, did you work like a 40-hour week or?
No, so I was probably working about 20 hours or so.
Exactly, right? And I only asked that, I didn't know before, but I figured that is not a lot of hours because they try to, put people on shift or make more than one student be able to do that. And as an international student, legally you're only able to work a 20-hour week based on your study permit. And so an on-campus job sounds like it will facilitate that, right?
Yes,
so
definitely they'll take that into consideration, and a lot of the positions are like seasonal, and it's very easy for you it's very easy for international students to kind of go into those jobs.
And you can be a tutor.
Yeah, you can be a tutor.
So
all of these
if you're coming here as an international student, and of course you're wondering what kind of jobs, there are other jobs outside of school that we can talk about, we can get into, but definitely on-campus jobs that will work within the 20-hour week that you're allowed to work at. And I mean, whatever minimum wage that is, what it is.
Yeah, it would be minimum wage across the board.
Yeah, which is $13.
14, I think.
Oh, they raised it. How lovely.
Yeah, 14,
so about $14 an hour before tax. Okay, cool. So that is some good information there. What was your experience like working on res? Was it like odd hours, like midnight? Was it during the day? Did it interrupt your classes?
So no. So again, working on campus or
your schedule.
Yeah, exactly. So you're a student. That is why you're really I don't think they typically hire outside of the campus really for like those kind of positions. So they're very accommodative to your study schedule, your class schedule, and odd hours. So I did for my job. So my job was on the dorm that I was living on. So what I would do was I would have to make up events for the students on dorm. That was an interesting experience. It was like a creative outlet, kind of. I was making flyers and trying to figure out interesting things to make people do. So anyway, I had to do that. Had to check the building, respond to noise complaints, that kind of stuff. So my shift would end sometimes at midnight.
But you lived on res.
Yeah, so it was where I lived. Yeah, it was in my building.
Okay, so I mean, if midnight, if you're living far away, I don't know, it's up to you to determine feasibility. For like my situation, when I had just come here, the rules were a little bit different, where you had to be here for 6 months before you could start working on campus. And I have no problem with that because I was in no hurry to try and have no job and try to commute for 2 hours and struggle in the winter. I had enough on my plate. So, you know, if you live far 2 hours away, a midnight job, I mean, it's up to you, but I wouldn't.
Yeah.
But living on campus and taking up such a position works, makes sense. Or if you live close by, so it's up to you.
Yeah, very convenient.
Yeah, so there's an option there, some options there. All right, so we heard a little bit about what it's like to work on campus and the available options to you as international students or people coming here to school. Check those out. I mean, you can always go on the school website and see what jobs are available on campus and through school. And also, the school themselves has a hub or some sort of thing on their website where they're actually advertising jobs, entry-level jobs for
graduates,
outside companies for graduates, right?
Yeah.
Is that how you found this company?
Yes.
Okay, so the company that you currently work at was posted on your Centennial website as, oh, this place is hiring.
Yes, exactly. So, I've, in my experience, the times when I've actually gotten responses from my online application, it has actually been through their job portal that they have for colleges and universities. So, you know, like your login info that you get as a student, your student password and all of that stuff, it never really stops working. So there's people who continue to have that and have
access.
Yeah, and just only use that. So yeah, so whenever I've gotten promising responses from
or a
companies,
response any at all, eh?
yeah, it's been through one of these student portals. So that's definitely something to consider. And I think even as Christina probably told you guys, I handed in her resume at the time, or company that we're working at weren't hiring at all, you know, and it was just, you know, she was more than qualified for any position that would be available, and they, you know, took up the opportunity to, you know, have her on their team. But it's so if she had applied through any typical means without using a student portal or just through networking, I guess she probably wouldn't be working at that company. Or
what are you trying to say? What are you trying to say right now? Are you trying to say that my resume doesn't stand out?
No, I'm just saying the way that people, they don't
for real.
look
Like,
at it.
for real though, you can be applying for days. Because the thing is that I wasn't trying to stay in Toronto, and you guys know that story already. If you don't know that story, watch the video, right? There's a little eye in the corner up here, so just click it and you'll see a little bit about my story. I wasn't trying to stay in Toronto because I didn't find it hopeful. And people try to network, try to get to know people, even if it's not something that you know from high school. Somebody that you meet on res, or go to information interviews, go to free networking events. Like, I know as an immigrant, sometimes getting around might seem a little bit of a burden because you have to take the bus or whatever, and you're trying to save all up your money because you don't know how you're going to go, and you know you have to submit a PR application and you have to pay all these millions of dollars. But go to free networking events, meet people. I went to a free Kevin O'Leary. Kevin O'Leary is on Shark Tank. He had a free event in Toronto sometime last year, and you just sign up online, you go, and it's an entrepreneurship event, talking about even like financial literacy and stuff, and you can meet people there, shake some hands. You kind of have to put yourself out there. I get it, if you're like an introvert of the sort, it might be a little bit difficult. Even if you just go and say like a prayer before you go and say, let me just stumble upon somebody let somebody spill their coffee on me, and you know, or something. You know what I mean? To kind of meet people, to get to know people. I had done an information interview with a person. I probably like connected with this person on LinkedIn. Like I feel like I was a lot braver or out there 3 years ago than I am now.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I feel like I met this person on LinkedIn. He has a background in architecture, kind of like me, and then went into project management. And he works for this big company. And I asked him if I could have an information interview, and he agreed. And I went to their office. And it's not like a sketch thing. I never got to the man yard or, you know, have dinner with him. I went into his office and got information from him about, you know, transitioning from architecture into. So just go meet people. Go meet people. You know, if you don't have a good friend to hand in your resume, and check the school portals.
Yeah.
I never did that. I honestly, maybe I knew. I feel like I didn't know.
Yeah, it's like a secret, because even I've gone on the U of T one and got no responses.
So I will see if I can find some helpful links and attach them in the description below if you're already here as a student, or if you're coming here just to see what your options are. It's definitely something to consider.
Yeah, and the thing though is that you have to be a student to have access. So it's a fairly
But if you're coming here as a student already, you have access to that school.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a fairly exclusive way to look for jobs.
Got it. Okay, perfect. That's some good advice right there. Thank you so much, good friend, for sharing that information.
You're welcome.
That's news to me. That's why I like to bring different people on here with different experiences, because they have way more information to add to the information that I already have. So I appreciate you. I appreciate the time that you're spending here. I appreciate you for watching. Click like. Remember to subscribe. Share the video. There's a lot of people out there who want to know more about coming to Canada, being in Canada, existing in Canada. So share this video. Remember to subscribe and join our immigrant community, and we're going to talk to Dwight some more. So we are going to take a quick break, and we will see you in the next video.